Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is the guide for Sardegna A with the McLaren F1 GTR, and let's get this started by mentioning that we're on the racing soft tires. Brake balance is at -1 or 1 to the front, and in the time trial the McLaren F1 is going to be one of the best cars to use, but in the race, due to the race settings and the really high tire wear, a lot of other cars are going to do well in terms of the race settings. So let's go ahead and bring ourselves towards the right side of the track, and you're going to brake before you reach this orange marker before the 100-meter board. So you're braking hard for a very long time, slowly easing off of the brakes as you turn in, and as you hit the apex, get on the throttle as soon as you can. You want to eventually make your way towards the right side of the track and brake just as you pass the 50-meter board. So you brake hard for a short moment, slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in, but you want to bring yourself towards the left side of the track to set yourself up to go through this right turn. So you're going to dab on the brakes before you pass the yellow sign on the left, so you brake at 50% braking power for a short moment, and just control your throttle input, just trying to get the car rotated before starting to fully accelerate. Bring yourself towards the right, and you're going to brake just after you pass this sign that is behind the 50-meter board. You brake hard for a short moment, slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in, just trying to stick to the left wall without hitting it, of course. And you want to carefully get on the throttle. You don't want to get on the throttle too early, because if you have to adjust your throttle input as you're trying to exit the turn, then you're going to lose your momentum. And you actually kind of saw that happen with me as I exited that turn. Then you're braking at around 125 meters, so in between the 100 and the 150 meter board. Brake hard for a while, slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in, just gradually getting on the throttle to try to build your speed right away. Now here comes Sardegna's version of the chicane of death. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track, brake before the curb on the right end, so you're braking at 50% braking power for a very short moment. Quickly ease off of the brakes and just slowly get on the throttle. You're trying not to touch the grass. Finally, you're braking just before the curb on the right starts, so right before the 100 meter board. Brake hard for a short while and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in. Just try to be really smooth through here. It's really easy to be a little too harsh and end up losing momentum coming out of the turn. And this right turn, you can easily take it flat out. But that is pretty much it for the lap guide. In a moment, we'll go ahead and get started with the strategies. For this race, we are doing 10 laps of Sardegna A with the Group 3 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel is not an issue at all, but tire wear is a ×8, so tire wear is going to be a bit of a royal pain in the behind. So we have the racing soft and medium tires available. Both tires are required, so you do need to use both tire compounds so you don't get a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. So you're pretty much doing a pretty straightforward one stop just for a tire change to switch over to the tires that you haven't used yet. So if you're starting in the very front, you can start on the racing soft tires to try to get away from everyone else. But if you're starting closer towards the middle or the back of the pack, you can start on the racing medium tires to get the slower tire compounds out of the way. Because the tire wear rate is pretty high, you want to be really careful about how you're driving around. You don't want to be too harsh, because that will destroy your tires and you'll need to go for a pit stop sooner than later. If you're in a car that is poor on tire wear, like the Lamborghini Huracan or the McLaren F1, you want to be even more careful about how you're driving the car, because those cars, they eat their tires for breakfast. Even the Corvette is a little harsh on the tires, so you want to be a little careful about how you're driving these cars around so you don't destroy the tires. If you're starting on the racing soft tires, you want to try to make them last 5 to 6 laps, preferably 6 laps. If you're starting on the racing medium tires, you want to try to pit at the end of laps 4 or 5 to switch over from the racing medium to the soft tires. In terms of go-to cars, the McLaren F1 is probably going to be the best car for time trial, because there's a lot of high-speed sections and the McLaren loves that kind of stuff. in terms of race pace, that's where things kind of start to open up and a lot more cars are able to do well, like the McLaren F1, but you have to be really careful about how you drive it because the McLaren is really bad on the tires. The Corvette is another good car. It's probably one of the better cars in terms of race pace. The Viper will do alright. The Nissan GTR will also do alright. The Supra will do alright as well. Basically cars that have a bit of power that are able to go pretty fast and have good top speed. They're going to do well here at Sardegna A. And because Sardegna A has a lot of high-speed sections, that's going to present a lot of opportunities for overtakes to be done. So especially if you're under someone's slipstream, so if you're within 3/4 of a second between yourself and the next car, you're in your slipstream range, and you can actually use that slipstream to try to pull yourself closer to the car ahead of you and potentially set yourself up to go for an overtake, especially on the main straight, because that's a really high speed section and you can probably get a really easy pass done. Just make sure you brake a little earlier than usual, otherwise you're going to end up on the gravel. But anyways, let's go ahead and go on over to the pit stop. So we're at the end of lap 6, just after the very last turn. Bring yourself all the way to the right side of the track and you'll be in the pit stop. So I started on the racing soft tires. I'm going to switch over to the racing medium tires to get both tire requirements out of the way, and your pit loss is going to be around 20 to 21 seconds. You're still going to be losing time as you come out of the pit stops because this is a really long main straight and the pit stop is in the middle of said long main straight. So you want to be a little careful. Be aware that other cars may be coming at you really fast, so you don't want to get in the way and end up, causing a nasty collision. So just be aware of that. Same goes for those that are passing by others that are coming out of the pit stops. Just try not to cross paths so you don't end up crashing into each other. But anyways, going towards the very end of the race, we're at the end of lap 10. Tire wear is not too bad, and my fastest lap was a 140.3, which was not that good. I know I could go for 139, but I just kept on hitting walls. Try not to hit walls. But anyways, this is going to be around a 17-minute race, around 17 and a half minutes. So this is actually a bit of a shorter daily race than usual. But anyways, that's going to be it for this guide. Once again, make sure you use the racing soft and medium tires. Fuel is not an issue. And that's all for this guide. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you to Playseat for supporting the channel as well. So this is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.